We have never seen a season of professional women's hockey quite like this. Here's what's happening. About 140 of the best players in the world aren't playing in a league in North America this year. They're refusing to. They're sitting out. Marie-Philippe Poulin, author of 2 Olympic gold medal-winning goals, Canada's captain, isn't playing on a club team this year. Neither is Natalie Spooner. Neither is Shannon Sabados. Many of the best players in the world have come together to form the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. The women are sitting out, and they won't play in any league unless they see one that presents a viable future for the pro women's game in North America. In their opinion, a league like that doesn't exist.
The Buffalo Beauts have toppled the Boston Pride, and they take the Isabel Cup by a final score of 3-2.
But the National Women's Hockey League does exist. Now in its 5th season, with 5 teams, all based in the U.S., players there are making upwards of $18,000 a season. But many of the PWHPA members have played there, and they say it just isn't good enough. They're taking a stand, hoping it leads to a sustainable league that would pay enough to make the sport a career instead of a hobby. Even if Spooner and Poulin and Sabados wanted to play pro hockey in Canada, that isn't an option this year. For the first time in more than a decade, there is no pro women's hockey league operating in this country because the Canadian Women's Hockey League folded last year. The CWHL had teams in Canada, the US, and China. But shortly after the Clarkson Cup was awarded to the Calgary Inferno this past March, the CWHL announced it was shutting its doors.
It's a tough announcement to make to our players, staff, fans, but we've come to the realization that the economic model just it's not viable anymore.
Not long after the CWHL ceased operations, this PWHPA movement was born. So far, the union has put on 3 weekend-long showcases, events they're calling the Dream Gap Tour. At the PWHPA's helm is Hall of Famer Jayna Hefford, and today, she is the operations consultant for the PWHPA.
Jayna Hefford, also one of the greatest athletes in Canadian sports history, joining us in the studio. Jayna, welcome to Tim and Sid. Let's go through this.
7 world championships.
It takes us 10 minutes to go through the resume. 4 Olympic golds.
What else I got here?
Order of Canada, Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Anything else we're missing?
Mom.
Great personality. Like what else?
Thrilled to be here.
Thrilled to be here. Okay. We don't.
7-time world champion and champion of the cause.
Yes. Well, let's talk about the cause.
Yeah.
In terms of what we just saw there, does that bring us up to speed? Was that accurate enough? Is there anything missing from it? Where are we at right now?
No, I think that's where we're at. I think the last year has been, ups and downs and incredible amount of uncertainty, difficult for people, for players, for the former CWHL. But at the same time, I think we have so much optimism and momentum behind us. We believe the game is better than it's ever been. Our athletes are so good. They're great ambassadors. And we believe that the future is so bright for not only these players, but for the next generation. And that's the real focus, is making sure that we leave the game better than where we found it.
Is that the best case scenario? Because we've had conversations about this before, and as it's gone on, there's obviously an evolution. Do you know at this point what your best case scenario would be for the folks at home?
I mean, best case scenario would be we'd have a professional league to play in for these players next season that provides the infrastructure, the resources they need, some sort of a livable wage, health benefits, all those things that come with being a professional athlete, access to quality ice time and quality venues and facilities. There's so many things there that we believe we should check the box on that just haven't happened.
Right. And when you say livable wage, I want to be fair. I said in that piece $18,000. That's for the higher end, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't believe that that's an average salary in that league. I think that's a high-end salary. But, yeah, to us, livable, I mean, we can debate what that is, but it means that somebody doesn't have to work a 40-hour-a-week job and go to practice at 10 p.m. at night and try to do both. It's about being a hockey player and being able to focus on being a hockey player.
Right.
Why is the drive, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm interested in your take, because you've been in the Olympic Games. You've felt it from that perspective. Why is it when female hockey players in this country congregate for that tournament or a world championship, the attention is at a different level? Is it as simple as, well, there's a flag being waved, we're Canada, we love beating everyone else at hockey because we are hockey, yada, yada, yada? Or is there something else going on where it didn't economically, at least recently, translate for women's professional hockey?
I think it's a combination of the both. I think when you look at the resources that go behind an Olympic year, the marketing, the structure, we have Hockey Canada that makes sure that we are treated as professionals. We have everything we need. We have a medical staff. We have great ice time. Our schedule is laid out to optimize our performance. I think that plays a big role in it. When I played, I'd play in a Canada-US game, and we'd be at the ACC at the time, and 16,000 people, and a week later I'd play in a game in Toronto with 10 to 12 of the same players on the ice, and it's friends and family. It's a lot of it to me is about that infrastructure, the resources, the support, the marketing, the brand, and being able to build that around the game, because the athletes are the same.
Right, the machine behind it. And that's what kind of you guys are fighting for, because when I think about the numbers, and Sid and I are privy to the numbers that you do on TV, and when we watched from our studio what happened in Sochi and celebrated with the rest of Canada, like there were millions of people watching that game. So for those who say, well, there's no audience for it, that's why it doesn't work. We have seen the contrary being true. Even the CWHL's final game did a real legit number in Canadian sports television. Do you know why there's the gap, and maybe it's a fitting name in the Dream Gap Tour, but do you know why there's the gap between what you see in those 4 years, 2 years, certain circumstances, and why you can't get it for every game? Is it just the machine behind it?
Yeah, I think it's that investment. And if we're having these players practice 2 times a week at 10 p.m. at night in some small rink, if it shows that we don't value them as athletes, then why should everybody else? Right. I understand it's a huge investment to make in our game, but we also understand that it is an investment, and we need someone that's going to be patient with us and let us grow, but let us grow under that, umbrella of support.
Has there been some kind of push from corporate Canada at any level since the news from earlier this year? Where do we stand in the money regard of this?
Yeah, I mean, our partner profile with the PWHPA it's really impressive. I think in 5 to 6 months of work, we had a great campaign come out today and a little bit yesterday with Budweiser. And, we're gathering partners that want to be a part of the solution, not people that are going to put a logo on a rink board. And of course, we'll work with them as well, but we have partners that really want to be a part of the solution and want to, they believe in the cause and the purpose, and they're going to go out and they're going to help drive awareness with us. And a company like Budweiser that has their reach has done so much to support the game and support these athletes.
The strength of the women giving up their prime years right now to make a statement is inspiring to me. What does the audience need to know about what these women are doing in order to make the statement that we're trying to make here?
Yeah, I mean, we have the best players in the world. We have every member of Team Canada, every member of Team USA who is beyond college years as a part of our group. And we have players like Marie-Philippe Poulin, my opinion, the best player in the world, Kendall Coyne, Hillary Knight, sitting out the prime years of their career. And to me, it's disappointing, but at the same time, they know they can sleep at night knowing that they're doing something to better the game, and they're putting their careers on the side. And the easy thing would be for them to just go and play somewhere and make a bit of money and market themselves and do some endorsements. That would be a lot easier than what they're doing. This has been a challenging year for them, but they also, like I said, they know that they're doing the right thing for the future of the game and for the next young girl that wants to play professional hockey. I
know that you guys met with Billie Jean King, and I wonder what the experience was like, someone who's gone through processes like this before. What did she bring to the table?
Well, I mean, as you know, she's a legend. She's an icon. Having the opportunity to just be in the same room with her is an honor. But to have her, advise our group on a more than daily basis, she's very involved in our conference calls and different things. She's providing that guidance, that advice, that experience she's been through. She's such a believer in a unified voice, and she was the one that really got this going. And knowing that the power is in the depth of the group. And so we will stay together, we'll stay unified, we'll continue to push for what we believe in. And nobody thought this was going to be easy. We know we're doing the right thing for the future of the game.
What do you think of when you see the relationship between women's professional basketball in the States and the NBA?
I mean, I look at that, and over the years you hear that it hasn't always been profitable. You hear there's been ups, there's been downs, there's been positives, mistakes, but overriding that is I feel like the NBA's been patient. And despite those ups and downs, they've been patient with them. And this year, everybody was talking about the WNBA finals, and that goes to show that they were willing to make an investment and be patient in the growth.
I've never seen more mentions of the finals in my timeline.
Yeah.
Timmy, I don't know if
Agreed.
this year. I've never seen more mentions than this year. It was quite extraordinary.
Right, and 25 years. It's hard to believe it had been that long. But it takes time, but it is part of that investment that you're going to make in women.
I'm glad that you said the 25 years, because I think that's a huge, I'm a huge supporter, I don't know if you know this, of U Sports, CIS, whatever you want to, Canadian University Sports in this country. And my biggest pet peeve is that there are people that are trying to get their $5 out. And they don't realize that if they just put in the time, allow it to grow, you might get $500 out if you give it that time. And I think in the end, is that not what we're talking about here? Is the investment that maybe you can get $2 out now, but that's nothing in what you can get out in 25 years or something.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we're talking about sport or we're talking about stocks.
Right.
You're going in the short term, and there's no guarantees in that. But you gotta be patient. You gotta ride it out. You gotta know and believe that the good times are going to come, and you gotta ride the low points. But yeah, it's an investment in women and in our sport.
Right. I'm average at both. Stocks and sports. Before we let you, sorry, Tim.
That's why Jayna's here.
Yeah, that's why Jayna's here. Before we let you go, I just want to ask you, and even if you can talk to Canada directly, what have you learned about your membership in the last 9 months? As trying as they've been, what's the one thing you take away from these women that maybe you didn't know before?
I think I knew they were passionate, but to understand how much they're willing to sacrifice to do something that's for someone other than themselves has been so impressive. When I took on this role, the amount of work that a number of these players are putting in to ensure just this season can get up and running in the way we're operating, I've been completely overwhelmed by that. And the other thing I'd say is the unity. I mean, we talk all the time Canada-US, but these women are together, they're unified, they're strong, and they're going to stick this out to make sure we leave this better.
Some of the battle is the conversation, and we're glad that you came by and had the conversation with us.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Thank you. And thanks for your support. You guys have been so wonderful to women's hockey.
Well, I'm a nobody. You're the four-time Olympic gold medalist.
We try our best.
We're trying our best here.
7-time world champion, too.
7-time world champion, too. I know, I keep, sorry. She's won a lot. Jayna Hefford, she's good.